I just put out a video detailing the Deadeye system in Red Dead Redemption 2, but believe it or not, that only makes up a small fraction of the game's combat system. From the hands-on impressions we've heard, a lot of press came away somewhat shocked at just how different some of the elements of combat controlled in this game compared to Red Dead 1 or GTA 5. Today, we're going to stitch all of those impressions together and take a look at just what is so different about this combat. Let's start without even looking at guns at all. Hand-to-hand combat will be in the game, and it seems to resemble the melee attacks and strikes we saw in GTA 5. You'll have to time your strikes precisely in order to get a solid hit in. It sounds like you could actually grab people and shove them through a doorway as we saw in this trailer, and I'm guessing you could then proceed to beat the living shit out of them. Melee weapons are in the game as well, and we know you can one-hit kill people from behind with a knife if you're at a close enough range. It sounds like you'll be able to complete a lot of missions using stealth exclusively, so if you want to go full Solid Snake and just slice necks from behind to finish a mission, then go ahead. The bow, while intended to be used on animals, can also be used to inflict damage onto humans. Okay, enough of that, let's talk about some guns. Yeah! In Red Dead Redemption 2, you can only hold 2 sidearms and 2 large weapons at a time. Due to this much smaller inventory than previous Rockstar games, I suggest picking a favorite gun, getting real good at using it, and then sticking with it, because it ain't easy to just swap out for another one. Another reason why I suggest sticking to your guns is the sheer madness that is Rockstar's attention to detail. It sounds like every gun has its own little quirks and differences. So I pulled my gun out and I'm ready to shoot someone. It's at this point, before a bullet is even fired, that the new Red Dead Redemption 2 combat system may throw you off guard. First of all, some guns require you to raise the hammer of the gun before firing a shot. Basically, what this means is you have to hit the fire button to raise the hammer, and then hit it again to actually fire a shot. That's 2 button inputs for 1 shot. I'm sure these types of guns will have their own set of advantages to offset this slower rate of fire, but there's an operative word here: slow. One member of the media who played the game said, quote, "Some players may be surprised how slow the game is. It feels like a Western." I interpret this to mean that Rockstar really wants players to be deliberate with their guns and to think hard before just spraying and praying. The game will reward you for well-placed shots, but it will also punish you for shooting too much. We saw some of the reload animations in the gameplay videos, and they look great, but when you're actually playing the game, those are some long-ass animations you're gonna have to wait through. Look at Arthur reloading that revolver one bullet after another. What could I say? I'm a speedrunner. Sometimes watching these really slow animations just hurts my soul. So you want to avoid reloading during combat if you could help it. That means firing less. Another way Rockstar punishes players is through weapon degradation. It's one of my least favorite mechanics in video games, but from the impressions, it doesn't seem too bad. Over time, your guns will generally degrade from use, which will affect their performance. Your guns could also rust, and apparently this is accelerated if you use them more in the rain. Ultimately, if your guns get too dirty or beat up, they won't break, but they could possibly jam or lose accuracy in the middle of a gunfight. As of right now, we don't really know how frequently this jamming may occur, but nonetheless, it's definitely something we've never had to deal with before in a Rockstar open world game. Luckily, we have a ton of options to play with when it comes to gun maintenance. The first key, of course, is to maximize your efficiency when shooting. In other words, try to deal the most damage while shooting the least amount of bullets. In Red Dead 2, you can break an enemy's weapon when shooting them. So if you aren't confident in landing that headshot for a one-hit kill, aim for your enemy's gun, and he's as good as dead. Heads aren't the only body parts that result in a one-shot either. You could blow off limbs in this game if you're using the right weapon. I'm assuming if you blow off someone's leg, they probably aren't going to get back up and keep shooting at you. Also, keep in mind that sometimes you could shoot an enemy and they won't die right away. They'll stumble or move around a little bit before bleeding out. It's important to recognize this animation in the game and not waste bullets on enemies that are already dead. The Gunsmith in this game is going to be your best friend if you want to use all of your weapons effectively. Not only can he repair your damaged weapons, but he can also upgrade them. Now, I could probably dedicate an entire video just to the upgrade system in the game, but for now, know that upgrading your gun means killing enemies easier and quicker. You can also specifically buy certain gear upgrades that will affect your weapon stats. One of the holster upgrades from the hands-on preview session slowed down degradation of all weapons by 20%. You can even buy gun oil, which is an item that can instantly fix your beat up weapons, restoring them to perfect condition. I plan to have a bunch of these on me at all times. You never know when you'll be halfway through a difficult mission, only for it to start pouring rain, and suddenly all of your weapons are rusted and ineffective. Gun oil fixes all of these problems. The combat system extends well beyond Arthur Morgan alone. Horseback combat is literally a whole different animal. How effective your shooting will be on horseback will depend on the bond between you and your horse. And that's a topic I'll be tackling in its own video in just a few days. Let's talk about the impact of bringing your fellow gang members along for a shootout. The team-up mechanics in this game differ fairly significantly from GTA 5. In that game, the other characters were either computer controlled, or you had the option to straight up switch to them and play as them yourself to get the job done. In Red Dead Redemption 2, you give orders to the other gang members, and their effectiveness when given an order is directly proportional to the bonds you create with them at your camp. One simple example would be to ask John Marston to kill an enemy. Boom, done. I think it would be pretty satisfying to finish a mission by just telling your fellow gang members to go kill everybody for you. I gotta try that. And that's about it for today. Mastering all of these combat mechanics will obviously be essential if you want to beat the game or find success in Red Dead Online. Effectively maintaining your weapons, reloading at the most opportune times, and smart use of your fellow gang members will be key to clearing some of the tougher missions in the game. As always, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Another Red Dead video will be up tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and take care.